Chapter 71 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yun Yuran lifted her head, her eyes sparkling. She was like a demon, beautiful enough to rival the sun and moon, yet also like a celestial being, elegant and pure. Li Muqing gripped her handkerchief, silently cursing, "Bitch. Who are you trying to seduce with that look?" She wondered. Yu Wenma watched the scene unfold from the shadows. "I didn't realize Taifu Yun's daughter was so striking," he remarked with a hint of amusement. Zhao Gao, unsure of the emperor's meaning, remained silent. He had never heard His Majesty comment on a woman before. This was a first. After all, he knew better than anyone how much the emperor disliked women. "I hadn't noticed Yun Guiji was so remarkable," Li Muqing said with an odd tone, "but then again, this is the first time I've seen it." Yun Yuran offered a polite smile. "You flatter me, Your Majesty. I'm just ordinary, like a plum blossom, nothing special." Suddenly, Li Muqing slammed her hand on the table. "I paid you a few compliments, but you think you're all that?" Yun Yuran didn't reply, but glanced at the nanny, who was still beating Ningxuang. "Your Majesty," she began, "I don't know how my personal maid offended you. I apologize. But please, tell her to stop. If she keeps hitting her, her face will be ruined." Li Muqing examined her fingernails, unfazed. "She's just a maid. Why bother?" "But Your Majesty, my servants are human beings, too. They were raised by my family just like anyone else. I don't think anyone is better than anyone else." "Ha! Is a lowly slave worthy of being compared to me? Aren't you human?" Xiao Detzi almost burst out laughing, quickly covering his mouth. "Fine. You dare to offend me? Come here and hold her down. I'll teach this girl a lesson she won't forget. You're the girl, and so is everyone in your family. Did I say something wrong? Your Majesty, just because your royalty doesn't give you the right to bully people and look down on those beneath you, without them, you wouldn't be living the high life. You'd be getting up early to fight the dogs for scraps." Enough was enough. She had reached her limit. Li Muqing pointed a trembling finger at Yun Yuran. "Crude. Absolutely crude." Zhao Gao was stunned. He couldn't believe he was seeing such a vulgar and impudent woman in the palace. The emperor's lips curved into a mysterious smile. He was curious to see how much further this woman would go. Tonight's trip to the royal garden was proving to be very interesting. He had never encountered such a fascinating woman in the palace. The others were either fragile and delicate, or scheming and manipulative. This woman was the opposite. She was headstrong and fierce, but she stood up for herself, and she avenged herself immediately, instead of plotting behind the scenes like the others. He didn't know Yun Yuran well, but he knew that if she wanted to get even, she was just as likely to cause trouble later on. Yun Yuran rolled her eyes, stopped bowing, stood up straight, grabbed the nanny who was beating Ningxuang, and flung her away. The nanny landed several feet away with a thud. "Hands on her hips," she declared, "just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm harmless. If you weren't several ranks above me, I wouldn't be wasting my time listening to your nonsense." She grabbed Ningxuang and tossed her to Xiao Detzi. "Take her back to Luoying Palace to see the imperial physician. Make sure that pretty face isn't ruined." "But what about you?" Xiao Detzi asked anxiously. "Don't worry about me. Just do as I say." Reluctantly, Xiao Detzi helped Ningxuang, who was still dazed from the whipping, and left. "So, a little concubine like you dares to disrespect me? Who do you think you are? I'm standing up for myself. If you have a problem with it, tough. Seize her." She ordered the eunuchs and maids surrounding her. Yun Yuran licked her lips and took a few steps back. Several maids and eunuchs rushed at her. 2 eunuchs grabbed Yun Yuran by each arm, intending to drag her to Li Muqing. As a modern woman, she wouldn't put up with that. She twisted her arms and collided the 2 eunuchs together. The eunuchs gasped in pain, but before they could react, she kicked them hard in the knees, sending them crashing to the ground. Judging by their faces, those blows were definitely not gentle. Yun Yuran wasn't finished with them. She grabbed the 2 eunuchs by the hair and slammed their heads together. A sickening crack echoed through the garden, and the eunuch saw stars. Their vision blurred, and they let out an ear-splitting wail. This time, she had really crossed the line. The four maids lunged at her, trying to grab her hair and pin her legs, hoping to subdue Yun Yuran, but Yun Yuran wasn't about to give them the chance. She grabbed one maid, lifted her up, and slammed her down on the ground. The maid groaned in agony, curled up like a shrimp. Yun Yuran continued her assault, using both hands and feet, kicking backward and punching forward. Another maid helplessly watched as Yun Yuran's fist connected with her chest. She collapsed, sliding backward until her butt hit the ground, leaving a painful trail. The third maid was kicked in the leg and stumbled back, unable to regain her balance. She fell face first, her nose bleeding and her face scraped raw by the gravel. The last maid didn't dare move, watching Yun Yuran with wide, frightened eyes. Yun Yuran ignored her and marched straight toward Li Muqing. Li Muqing was stunned into silence. Seeing Yun Yuran approaching, she looked around, but there was no one left to help her. She stammered, You, what do you think you're doing? You, stay away from me. Yun Yuran sauntered toward her, a wicked smile playing on her lips. Tell me, what should I do? Li Muqing retreated, her foot catching on a loose stone. She lost her balance and landed hard on her rear. Yun Yuran looked at Li Muqing sprawled on the ground and burst into laughter, the sound like tinkling bells. Ha! It's hilarious that you can't even stand up on your own. Li Muqing ignored the pain in her butt and clenched her fists so tight her nails bit into her palms, her face twisted with rage. She hissed, Just you wait. One day, I'll make you pay for this humiliation. No, I don't want to wait, Yun Yuran said, casually dusting her hands, as if she was trying to show that there wasn't dust on them. Li Muqing gritted her teeth, desperate to tear the arrogant woman in front of her limb from limb. Chapter 72 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhao Gao stood there, jaw dropped and eyes wide with disbelief. He stole a glance at the emperor. His face was a mask, except for a faint quirk at the corner of his mouth. What was going on here? Thinking his eyes were playing tricks, he rubbed them hard. The emperor's expression hadn't changed. He wasn't seeing things. His Majesty was clearly intrigued by this woman. Normally, he would have sent assassins to eliminate these troublemakers without a second thought. What was with all the patience, standing here watching the show? And enjoying it so much? Yun Yuran sauntered over to Li Muqing, crouched down, and tilted her chin up with one hand. TSK, TSK, TSK. Such a pretty face, but you just had to be difficult and provoke me. I mean, we're not enemies or anything. Why go out of your way to annoy me? Li Muqing tried to yank her chin free, but Yun Yuran, fueled by her dolly pills, wasn't about to let go. She squeezed harder, a clear warning. Keep struggling like that, and you might dislocate your jaw. Li Muqing froze, swallowing her pride. Yun Yuran released her chin, gently caressing her soft cheek, a hint of ruthlessness flickering in her eyes. There, that's better. Li Muqing's gaze was pure hatred. If looks could kill, Yun Yuran would be dead 1,000 times over. She looked like a venomous snake, coiled and ready to strike. Yun Yuran pulled a jelly bean from her pocket and tossed it into Li Muqing's mouth. Li Muqing gasped, but the jelly bean was already sliding down her throat. She coughed violently, trying to dislodge it, but it was no use. What did you give me? Oh, nothing. Just a little poison pill. The bright smile playing on her lips seemed, to Li Muqing, like the devil himself was smirking. Li Muqing's face was a mask of disbelief. She stammered, Poison? You wouldn't dare. Oh, I dare. Your people are lying around, beaten to a pulp. You think I'd let you off the hook without a little insurance? Wait for you to get revenge. I'm not stupid. Ha! You think some little poison can control me? We have doctors in the Imperial Hospital, they aren't all useless. Maybe not useless, but... She paused for effect. They won't be able to diagnose this particular poison. But hey, feel free to try. She just used her powers to put a mental block in place. Whenever Li Muqing even thought about betraying her or plotting revenge, she would get a splitting headache. Humph, you're a little too confident. She didn't buy Yun Yuran's bluff. Hey, I'm just saying, try it if you don't believe me. It's getting late, gotta head back. Don't want my maids and slaves getting worried. As she started to stand, she heard clapping. Clap, clap, clap. Quite a performance. A strange smile played on Yuenmo's thin lips, but his eyes were like chips of ice. Li Muqing saw Yuenmo and began to tremble. Your Majesty, what brings you here? Star, Zhao Gao barked, how dare you? Kneel and pay your respects to His Majesty. Yun Yuran sized Yuenmo up and down. This was the cruel, murderous emperor. Expressionless as he was hot. Seriously, off the charts gorgeous. Even she, as a woman, felt a twinge of jealousy. Yuenmo felt her gaze and his thin lips barely moved. So, you're interested in my face? Yun Yuran almost nodded, then remembered she was dealing with a tyrant. Showing interest in his face was probably a one-way ticket to Pain Town. Death wasn't so bad. It was the dismemberment and the human pig transformation that scared her. She didn't shake her head, didn't nod. Remembering what her father-in-law had just said, she scrambled to her feet, intending to salute the emperor. Li Muqing saw her chance. As Yun Yuran stood and started to bow, Li Muqing stuck out her foot. Yun Yuran, focused on the emperor, didn't see it. She felt a sudden obstruction. Before she could react, she was pitching forward. Desperate not to faceplant, she flailed, grabbing for anything. She managed to stay upright, but ended up kneeling. It felt like her forehead bumped something soft. She reached out, pinching the soft thing. It shifted, gradually hardening. Recognition slammed into her. She looked up, and met a pair of chilling, fierce eyes. The ice in them could freeze hell. Hiss. Zhao Gao sucked in a breath. This woman was in for it. Yuenmo spoke one word, his voice dripping with death. Kill, no, 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 he was screaming internally, primal rage churning. Yun Yuran didn't have time to think about that. She grabbed the emperor's waist, clinging with both hands, fingers locked tight. Below were the emperor's buttocks. Her hands were glued to his butt. No one could pry them loose. Her head was buried firmly between his legs, her forehead and eyes pressed against that hard spot. If she let go, she'd lose her limbs. She wasn't turning into a human pig. If she could just kill the emperor, she wouldn't have to do something so humiliating, but she couldn't fight, couldn't kill. All she could do was get down and dirty. Guards swarmed from all directions, swords gleaming. Yuenmo gestured, and the guards turned their blades on the eunuchs and maids sprawled on the ground. Soon, only Li Muqing and Yun Yuran remained. Yun Yuran squeezed her eyes shut, screaming at the system. Everything, everything. My hands and feet are about to get chopped off. Think of something, fast. The system was freaking out, too. The emperor had just given the order. Then, an idea. Luck points. Xiao Ran, use 10,000 luck points, quick. It'll bring you good luck. Yun Yuran instantly clicked the luck value. 10,000 points of luck washed over her. Yuenmo felt the white-hot fury inside him begin to fade. He looked down at the woman clinging to him. She was shaking, even that part of him was trembling. So arrogant just a minute ago. So scared now. He said, will you let go? Yun Yuran shook her head, holding on tighter. Only a fool would let go. She could still hear the guards hacking through the eunuchs and maids, like cutting leeks. She didn't want to be next. Let go, Yuenmo said, his tone hard and cold. Not until I die, she said, even though her mouth was brushing against a rather awkward area. She didn't care. Feeling the emperor's legs shift, she dropped to the ground, clamping his legs between hers to keep him from moving. Yuenmo hadn't expected this level of shamelessness. He couldn't even kick her off. Li Muqing, meanwhile, was petrified the moment the emperor gave the order. Seeing the guards cut down a maid, blood splattering everywhere, she'd fainted. She closed her eyes and crumpled to the ground. Chapter 73 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuenmo struggled, but she clung to his legs like a vice. Her face was pressed against him, her breath ghosting against his skin, sending a shiver down his spine. He felt a strange urge, a desire he didn't expect. He'd never had thoughts like this about a woman before, and he wasn't repulsed. Not disgusted. Not feeling dirty, the softness of her body pressed tightly against his legs, a perfect fit, I want this woman his heart screamed, the system warned, Xiao Ran, if you don't let go of the emperor, you're gonna get yourself killed. I don't care anymore. Even if he's gonna rape me, I'm going down clinging to him, besides, haven't you noticed? Ever since I blew 10,000 points of luck, that ice-cold aura he had seems to have disappeared. Yuanma ordered the guards, clean up these bodies. As for Li Shi, send her back where she came from. Yes, your majesty. The guards obeyed instantly, some hauling away the corpses, others pullingly mooching away. Soon, the imperial garden was clean. The stench of blood vanished, and everything looked as it had before. Without witnessing the massacre, no one would believe it ever happened. Yuanma tried to pull Yun Yuran off him, but she was stuck fast, her arms like steel bands around his waist. She'd taken a dolly pill, after all. No way was the emperor gonna move her that easily. Yuanma was surprised at her strength. Her grip on his legs was painful, his waist felt like it was being crushed. He tested her. If you don't let go, I'll charge you with insubordination and throw your whole family in prison. Yun Yuran didn't budge, she was done caring. If the Yun family was going to be heartless and abandon her, why should she give a damn about them? If they had truly cared about her, they wouldn't have let her drown in that well without so much as a search. Not hearing from her daughter after so long, she knew without guessing that something must have happened. Grand Tutor, if you want to redress your daughter's grievances and find her, it is not difficult at all. Even if you can't get justice, at least you have fought hard. But what the Yun family did was they chose to keep things quiet. In the final analysis, a daughter cannot equal the glory of the family, the rise and fall of the family. They were afraid of touching the emperor's bottom line. Losing patience, Yuanma demanded, how do I get you off my leg? Yun Yuran looked up at him, her eyes pleading. Just promise you won't chop off my hands and feet, and I'll let go. A flicker of amusement danced at the corner of Yuanma's mouth. This little girl was worried about losing her limbs. He had chopped off the hands and feet of some women, but those women were spies from enemy states. What else could he do? That's it? Yes, that's it. She nodded firmly, feeling the heat building within him. Yuanma purred, okay, I won't chop off your hands and feet, but you'll have to offer me something else in exchange. Like what? She'd agree to anything short of dismemberment, death, or a fate worse than either. Yuanma leaned closer, his voice a low murmur in her ear. Please me. Serve me. Make me happy. Satisfy me. He could force her. She was his woman, after all, but he wanted to tease her, to make her want to serve him. That defiant fire in her eyes had really gotten to him. Her face was pure and beautiful, like a sacred flower, but inside, she had the spirit of a wildcat, claws ready to scratch. Provoke her, and she'd lash out, a low-ranking concubine, daring to challenge she, who was of a higher rank. Where did she get the nerve? Hadn't Mrs. Yun warned her to be careful, to avoid making trouble in the palace? But no, she barged in like a newborn calf, bold and reckless. Really? As long as I please your majesty, you won't chop off my hands and feet? Do you even know what it means to please me? Judging from her age, he wasn't sure how much she knew. Yun Yuran touched a spot as hard as iron with his forehead, and suddenly a pair of charming eyes flashed. Is it here? So you do understand. How old are you? I have to serve His Majesty when I enter the palace, so I have given you some instructions. I am already 17 years old. Yuanma thought, a full 18 years older. Then let go of my hand. Your Majesty, you really don't want to kill me? I give you my word. This little girl was really... He was about to explode from her friction, and she kept talking. If he didn't find her interesting, didn't hate her, and wasn't disgusted with her, how could he have the patience to spend time with her? Okay, I'll let go then. You were so fierce just now. So quick to hit someone. Why so timid now? Yun Yuran shrank back. They can't take my head, but you're the emperor. One word from you, and I'm dead. Zhao Gao was stunned. The emperor hadn't just not kicked this bold concubine, He was talking to her nicely, and somehow, he still needed to follow him to serve him. Was he dreaming? Had His Majesty finally seen the light? Come to think of it, Zhao Gao realized, the emperor was 35, still a virgin, hundreds of concubines in the palace, and he hadn't touched a single one. Come back to Qianqing Palace with me. Okay. Yun Yuan released his leg, stood up, and dusted herself off. She walked silently behind the emperor, then said in a clear, sweet voice, Your Majesty, could you send someone to Luoying Palace to tell my maids I'm all right? I haven't returned, and I'm afraid they're worried sick. Yuanhua turned to face her. You care about your servants. We live under the same roof, we keep each other company, and they serve me well. Of course, I treat them with respect. What you give is what you get. Not many masters care about their slaves the way you do. They're lucky to serve you. I think so too. She accepted the compliment without a trace of shame. Yuanhua was speechless. You really have no sense of guilt. Why should I? No master treats their slaves better than I do. As long as they don't screw up, I never take my bad mood out on them. Chapter 74 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When they got to Qianqing Palace, Zhao Gao had Yun Yuan taken away to freshen up. Your Majesty, do you really intend to favor Miss Guiji? Yuanhua set down his teacup, glancing up. Why wouldn't I? But Your Majesty, you hate women. I don't seem to have an aversion to her, and my body responds. I just want to see if I'll feel repulsed after being intimate with her. His hatred stemmed from when he was 10 and forced to drink medicine by a bunch of maids, some of whom took liberties with him. Ever since, he developed a deep dislike, seeing women as unclean. Any touch from a woman would trigger his rage, making him want to tear her to pieces. Seeing those maids and slaves arrogantly bullying others, a voice inside him screamed. It urged him to flay them, pull out their tendons, kill them all, to escape the pressure and the forced medicine. Zhao Gao, I don't want to be disturbed tonight. Yes, Your Majesty. Your servants will guard the palace and ensure you're not disturbed. After Zhao Gao closed the doors, he told his newest apprentice, Xiao Quanzi, have hot water prepared. Xiao Quanzi bowed his head, replying, Yes, I'll see to it right away. Zhao Gao patted Xiao Quanzi's shoulder. I'm counting on you. Keep learning, kid. Thank you, master. Xiao Quanzi was thrilled by the approval, practically bouncing. Seeing the undisguised joy on Xiao Quanzi's face, Zhao Gao frowned. Control your expressions. Keep your feelings hidden. Xiao Quanzi immediately composed himself, regaining his calm demeanor. Yes, thank you for your guidance. I'll remember it. Don't think I'm being hard on you. In this palace, a single misstep can cost you your head. You have to be careful, always, and don't get carried away. Xiao Quanzi nodded and went to make arrangements. Back in the imperial bedroom, Yuanhua, fresh from his bath, was greeted by the sight of a woman lounging on the dragon bed, her figure alluring. She was draped in a layer of sheer white gauze, revealing a burgundy silk bodice embroidered with 2 bana flowers. Lying on her side, her figure appeared even more curvaceous. Her full breasts were pushed together, rising and falling with each breath, as if yearning to be free. The candlelight flickered, casting the dark yellow bedroom in shadows. She looked like a siren, ready to tempt a scholar's soul. Yuanhua swallowed hard. Yun Yuan saw the emperor emerge and gave him a sultry look. Her eyes were captivating, seductive, enchanting. A soft smile played on her lips as she purred, Your Majesty, how long are you going to stare? I'm getting impatient. Her voice was as alluring as she could make it. Yuanhua raised an eyebrow. This woman was certainly full of surprises. His face remained impassive as he slowly approached the dragon bed. He looked down at her, his words laced with hidden meaning. You're quite the chameleon. How many faces do you have? Yun Yuan slowly sat up, knelt on the bed, and looked up at him, parting her red lips slightly. Your Majesty, take a guess. The system watched Yun Yuan's moves and warned her, Xiao Ran, don't go looking for trouble. The Emperor's eyes are ice cold. He'll strangle you without a second thought. Don't interrupt, or affect my performance. Fine. When you're about to die, I'll just come out and collect the pieces. The system gave up. It couldn't control a host determined to die. Yu Wenhua began to undress, his eyes dark and a slight curve to his lips. I'm not guessing. Ha! This old emperor wasn't playing by the rules. Annoyed, Yin Yuran rolled her eyes. Seeing her, Yu Wenhua asked, "Don't you want to put on a show anymore? Your Majesty, you really don't know how to have fun. Wouldn't some foreplay make things more enjoyable?" "I don't need foreplay." He kicked off his shoes and lay on the bed. Fine. If he didn't need it, he didn't need it. It made it seem like she was trying to please him. Yin Yuran lay still as well. Yu Wenhua frowned, his tone icy. "Aren't you here to pleasure me and serve me? What's with the dead fish act?" "Your Majesty, didn't you just say you don't need foreplay?" "You don't need it, I do. You have to wait until I'm ready and relaxed before I can serve you. My body is killing me, but I don't dare to just jump right in." Yu Wenhua paused, considering. She had a point. He turned on his side and reached out, cupping her breast. Instantly, he felt like he'd been struck by lightning. A tingle shot through him from head to toe. His toes curled with the sensation. Hiss. Yin Yuran grabbed his hand, annoyed. "Your Majesty, are you treating me like bread dough?" "No." Yu Wenhua was embarrassed. It was his first time touching something like that, and he couldn't control his strength. Yin Yuran seized the opportunity and retaliated. Hiss. Yu Wenhua gasped. It hurt a little, but it was also a little exciting. "Your Majesty, does it hurt?" Yu Wenhua nodded. "Then maybe control your strength." Yu Wenhua's touch became gentler, but a powerful energy surged through his body, seeking an outlet. Yin Yuran gradually got into the mood as well, rolling over and straddling the emperor. Yu Wenhua saw her looking down at him. He was anxious. How could he let a woman pin him down? With a burst of strength, he threw Yin Yuran off and pinned her down instead. Yin Yuran didn't resist, lazily surrendering. After a moment, Yu Wenhua looked into Yin Yuran's eyes and asked, "Are you even a woman?" Yin Yuran was taken aback. "Your Majesty, what do you mean? If I'm not a woman, what am I?" "Really?" Yu Wenhua looked puzzled. He couldn't figure it out. "Then why?" Yin Yuran rolled her eyes. "Your Majesty, this is my first time as your concubine. What happened next is left to your imagination." The candlelight flickered, and the dragon bed swayed, witnessing a beautiful and joyful night for them both. Zhao Gao knocked on the door. "Your Majesty, time for morning court." He was in complete awe of his Majesty. The whole night, while only when the sounds inside stopped did he dare to knock. "Come in and help me dress." Yu Wenhua sat up, gently pulling the quilt over Yin Yuran. He didn't want other men to see her body, not even eunuchs. When Zhao Gao entered, he kept his head down, carefully attending to the emperor. After Yu Wenhua put on the dragon robe, he said, "Stay here and don't let anyone disturb her." "Yes, Your Majesty." As soon as the door closed, Yin Yuran slowly opened her eyes. Her face showed no signs of exhaustion. In fact, she looked even more radiant. When everything was done, she used her powers to circulate through her body, eliminating all fatigue. She didn't feel like getting up to serve the emperor, so she pretended to be asleep. You can't spoil a man, especially an emperor. Otherwise, sooner or later, he'd push you too far. The system emerged from the void and said in disbelief, "That's it? It was that easy? I thought the emperor was supposed to be cruel and unapproachable." "Yep, that's all it took." Yin Yuran tossed her hair back. "Hey, what can I say? I'm irresistible." Chapter 75 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The system drawled, "You're pretty confident." Of course, confident women have all the luck. Yin Yuran, sprawled on the bed, pulled up the system mall and bought a Dragon Phoenix auspicious pill. She just felt like the first kid of a supposedly heirless emperor deserved to be twins. Dragon and Phoenix twins just sounded cooler. After swallowing the pill, Yin Yuran closed her eyes and drifted off. She wasn't exactly tired, but she'd been up all night and needed to catch up, thinking about the previous night. Yuan Ma asked, Zhao Gao, what kind of title do you think I should give her? Your Majesty, this one couldn't possibly know. As a eunuch, he wouldn't dare advise the emperor, besides, His Majesty probably already had something in mind. He was just asking because he was still unsure. After a moment, Yuan Ma grabbed his brush and began drafting an imperial edict. He set down the brush, rolled up the edict, handed it to Zhao Gao, and said, go see if she's gone back yet. If not, tell her I'll be back to have lunch with her later. As for the edict, once she returns, take it to Luoying Palace and announce it. Yes, Your Majesty. It wasn't until noon that Yun Yuran finally woke up. Tong, what time is it? Yun Yuran rubbed her eyes. The system responded, sounding annoyed, Xiao Ran, you can really sleep. It's already noon. Shoot. I've been asleep this whole time. Why didn't anyone wake me? You forgot that when the emperor went to court this morning, he ordered everyone not to disturb you. Yun Yuran got up, wrapped herself in a quilt, sat on the edge of the bed, and yelled, someone, come here. That she was practically naked from last night. How could she just walk out like this? Ingqiu, who was outside, heard the summons, immediately opened the door, and hurried in. Ingqiu, why are you here? Yun Yuran looked at her. My lady, the servant who went to Luoying Palace last night told me to come to Qianqing Palace early this morning to wait on you. She couldn't hide the grin on her face and practically burst with pride. Her mistress had finally made it. Yun Yuran nodded, looking at her. That cat that ate the canary smile is kind of freaking me out. Ingqiu wiped the smile off her face and said, little mistress, I'm just happy for you. Oh. Thanks. Go grab some clothes. Your servant has already prepared them. Just wait a moment. I'll go get them now. After Yun Yuran got dressed, Ingqiu went to fetch water for her to wash up. Seeing how flustered Ingqiu was, she said, take your time. I'm not going anywhere. I'm already here. It's not like rushing is going to change anything. Yes, my lady. Just as Ingqiu finished combing Yun Yuran's hair and inserting the last hairpin, Zhao Gao walked in. Greetings, my lady. Zhao Gao bowed respectfully. This noble concubine would be empress before long, so he should treat her with respect. Just because she was His Majesty's first woman, he had to tread lightly. Eunuch Zhao, you're too kind, Yun Yuran replied warmly, smiling at him. This was the tyrant's head eunuch. She needed to be nice to him and not leave a bad impression. What Yun Yuran didn't realize was that she'd already made a big impression on Zhao Gao the previous night. My lady, you flatter this servant. Zhao Gao smiled back. After the previous night, he knew this noble lady was not to be trifled with, but she was pretty reasonable, and though she could be arrogant and bossy, she was good to her people. As long as you didn't deliberately provoke her, she wouldn't show off. She seemed to treat everyone the same, slaves or emperors, without making distinctions. In Yun Yuran's eyes, they were all just like modern-day workers, nothing different. They relied on their own hard work to earn a living, so why should she look down on them? No one was better than anyone else. They were all hustling, and she just happened to be luckier. While enjoying their services, she was almost afraid she'd get struck by lightning if she gave them the stink eye. She used to be a hard-working office worker, so she understood the pain of the little people. Eunuch Zhao, what's up? My lady, it's like this. His Majesty asked your servant to come back and tell you that he'll be back shortly to have lunch with you. Got it. Eunuch Zhao, go back and tell His Majesty I'll be waiting for him. I will deliver your message, my lady. I'll be on my way. Zhao Gao bowed and left. Yun Yuran asked Ingqiu to brew some tea and grabbed a book from the emperor's desk to kill time. When Yuan Ma entered, he saw Yun Yuran holding a book in one hand and tapping the table with the other. Sensing someone, Yun Yuran looked up. She immediately put down the book, stood up, and curtsied, Your Majesty. Yuan Ma approached and said, Rise. Looking at the books on the table, he asked, Do you like reading? Yun Yuran shook her head. Not really. Then how come you looked so interested and absorbed? I'm bored. Just taking a look. Let's go eat. Yuan Mo said, his face like stone. Yun Yuran trailed behind him, muttering to herself, this guy's such a stick in the mud. Totally devoid of warmth, like someone owes him money. The system said, what do you expect from a tyrant? As long as he doesn't flip out and kill people. Yun Yuan scoffed, Tong Tong, your standards are in the basement. As long as he's willing to sleep with you and not chop off your head, that's all that matters. Don't ask for too much. Didn't you want me to seduce him, to make him crazy about me, hitting the wall for me? Why the change of heart? Mostly because I'm afraid your head will be rolling before you get a chance to seduce him. Who are you talking to? Just you wait and see how I bring him down. The system hummed, yeah, right, such a charmer, so confident. Go get them. Yun Yuan kept pace with the emperor. Truth be told, the emperor didn't know how to act around Yun Yuan at the moment, so he kept his face blank. Your Majesty, Yun Yuan called out in her clear, melodious voice. Yuanmo turned around and looked at her. What is it? Your Majesty, you were so vigorous last night. I'm still a little sore. Could you maybe help me? Yuanmo thought of their sparring match from the night before, and a slight smile finally crept onto his face. You don't have to go too easy on me. I almost felt like I was losing. Oh, Your Majesty, you're too modest. She reached out her hand. Yuanmo took her hand, held it gently, and walked towards the dining table. Her hand was soft and warm, and Yuanmo squeezed it. Hey, that felt good. Yun Yuan pouted, Your Majesty, you're being mean, squeezing my hand so hard. It hurts. Yuanmo looked down and saw her hand was turning red. When had he lost control like this? He was always embarrassing himself in front of her. It was all because she was too soft and delicate. Every time he touched her, he couldn't help himself. Reaching the dining table, Yun Yuan's eyes lit up at the sight of the endless dishes. She quickly sat down, grabbed her chopsticks, and started digging in. She wasn't even that hungry, but looking at the exquisite food, she couldn't resist. Yuanmo didn't seem to mind. He sat down slowly and started eating. Zhao Gao and Yingqiu tensed, wanting to stop it, but the emperor didn't object, so they weren't about to make trouble. Offending the emperor meant losing their heads. Yingqiu was shaking, her heart hammering in her chest. While Yuanmo ate, he also picked up dishes for Yun Yuan. Your Majesty, thank you. The food you're giving me is so delicious. Her eyes sparkled, as if the emperor had personally prepared some special delicacy for her. Yuanmo felt a sense of satisfaction, and he worked even harder to fill Yun Yuan's plate. Yun Yuan took everything, and her stomach was stuffed in no time. Yuanmo suddenly felt like feeding her was fun, like he was feeding his own pet. Chapter 76 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Heading back to Luoying Palace from Qianqing Palace, I hadn't even crossed the threshold when I caught snippets of some snide gossip. Well, aren't the magpies chatty today? I thought maybe we'd have something to celebrate. Guess Luoying Palace just got a new queen bee. Seriously. We all came up in the draft together, Sister Jiang. Think we just don't have Guiji's touch. She got with His Majesty the second she walked out the door. TSK TSK TSK, that's a power move right there. Translation, they were green with envy. The two exchanged glances. If His Majesty hadn't sent word to the Baihua Pavilion staff last night that she'd been over at Qianqing Palace, they wouldn't have known she was playing the game like that. I, Yun Yuan, strolled past them, not even bothering to give them a second look. Zhao Jieyu, fuming, stomped over and blocked my path. Why the big rush? Come on, spill the secrets. How'd you reel in His Majesty? That I gave her a half-hearted smile. You wanna know? Zhao Jieyu, clearly looking for a fight, nodded before she even realized it. Ha! Not telling. I sidestepped her. Jiang Marin jumped in, and suddenly, they were both swarming me, acting like I owed them some kind of explanation. Yingqiu was practically hyperventilating, not knowing what to do. Ladies, please, give her a break. If His Majesty likes her, that's his business. Why take it out on her? Zhao Jieyu glared at her. The adults are talking. What makes you think a servant like you can just butt in? Yingqiu flinched. Zhao Jieyu was notorious for bullying people in Luoying Palace, ready to punish anyone who didn't jump to her tune. Jiang Marin's eyes were filled with malice, but she gave a fake smile. Sister Zhao, I told you before, she plays by her own rules. Guess we know that for sure now. You said it. Zhao Jieyu agreed, my patience snapped. I slapped Jiang Marin so hard she went flying, slamming into the wall and crumpling to the ground. Knock it off with the attitude. So what if I got His Majesty's attention? So what if I don't just sit around being quiet and obedient? Did His Majesty say anything? Who are you to be running your mouths? Zhao Jieyu's eyes widened in shock, but she wasn't about to back down, standing tall to block me. My face darkened, and I shot her a warning glare. I'm counting to 3. If you don't move, you're gonna regret it. I'm not moving. What are you gonna, she started to say, what are you gonna do to me? But seeing Jiang Marin passed out on the floor, she changed her tune. If you lay a hand on me, I'm telling my aunt, that I was drawing a blank. Who's your aunt? Ingqiu whispered, concubine Ro. Since I was ostracized and depressed, I'd been hiding in Baihua Pavilion. Even when I came out, I hadn't paid attention to what was going on. This made her mood turn dark. Zhao Jieyu smirked. You know who you're dealing with now. Wow, super intimidating, I said, giving her a sarcastic thumbs up. Then tell me how you seduced His Majesty. Her face was bursting with pride and triumph. I exploded. Fine. So what if I did? You come at me, you get knocked on your butt. That without waiting for a reply, I kicked her square in the stomach. *wump, star. Zhao Jieyu flew back even farther than Jiang Marin had. She landed with a thud, clutching her stomach and wailing. Ouch. Help. Someone, help. Her 2 maids, stunned, just stood there. Once they snapped out of it, they rushed to her side. In the past, Zhao Jieyu had always used concubine Ro's power to throw her weight around, but no one was like me, who would just smack someone at the drop of a hat. Jiang Marin was still unconscious, her maid hovering nearby, too scared to say or do anything. She was afraid to help Jiang Marin up, scared that she would get beat up again. Finally, some peace and quiet. I brushed off my shoes. Almost got them dirty. Ingqiu looked at me, eyes shining with admiration. When did you become so tough? Seeing her wide eyes, I winked and struck a pose. The system chimed in, heads up, Xiao Ran. Look behind you. I turned to see Zhao Gao, Xiao Quanzi, and a whole gaggle of eunuchs standing there. I'd been so caught up in the drama that I hadn't noticed anyone coming. Feeling embarrassed, I gave a sheepish smile. Eunuch Zhao, what brings you to Luoying Palace? It was probably the first time Zhao Gao had seen someone so wild. I'd caused a ruckus in the royal garden last night, and now, fresh from Qianqing Palace, I was roughing people up again. Couldn't I try to be a little more delicate and virtuous? Ugh. Whatever. His Majesty seemed to like my don't mess with me vibe. Maybe he thought we had something in common. After all, one of us likes to rough people up and the other likes to kill. I couldn't help but wonder who would end up reigning who in. Zhao Gao pulled out the imperial edict, unrolled it, and announced in a booming voice, Your noble concubine, hear ye. Ingqiu and I immediately dropped to our knees, along with all the surrounding servants. Even Zhao Jieyu, who had just been helped up, had to kneel. Her knuckles were white as she gripped her sleeves, her eyes burning with resentment. By the grace of heaven, the emperor decrees, your noble concubine is graceful and gentle, possesses a shoe-like nature, is peaceful and pure, dignified and elegant, and possesses an outstanding appearance. She is hereby conferred the title of third-rank Jiaoyi, with Luoying Palace as her residence. Respect this. I raised my hands. I accept the decree. Long live the emperor. Long live, long live, long live. After Ingqiu helped me up, she slipped a purse from her sleeve and handed it to Zhao Gao. A little token of our appreciation, eunuch Zhao. Zhao Gao accepted the purse with a bow. Thank you, Empress Jiaoyi. If he didn't accept the purse, he was afraid that Yun Yuran would misunderstand that he looked down on others. Thank you for making the trip, eunuch Zhao. You're too kind, Empress Jiaoyi. I'll send word to the House of Internal Affairs to send over some extra staff. Thank you, sir. Zhao Jieyu clenched her teeth, her face pale, a chill went through her. The winter, once Zhao Gao had left, Zhao Jieyu spat, ha. Yin Yuran, don't get too cocky. Just you wait. My aunt won't let you get away with this. She delivered her threats and was helped away by her maids. Yeah, we'll see. I'll be worried when pigs fly. I flipped her off behind her back. Ingqiu quickly grabbed my hand. Your Majesty, please. Zhao Jieyu is vindictive. She's going to run straight to Concubine Row. You have to be careful, that I waved my hand dismissively. Relax, don't worry about it. Get Xiao Detzi and Grandma to start moving things into the Zuixin Pavilion in the main hall. Zuixin Pavilion was much more spacious than the other palaces. Yes, Your Majesty. My mistress had changed so much that I couldn't keep up anymore. Ever since she'd entered the palace in place of the eldest lady, she'd been depressed. Now she'd finally bounced back, but her personality was even more out there and bold than before. The reason I wasn't afraid was that I had the ability to protect myself and the baby in my belly. As long as I had a kid, I could do whatever I wanted. As long as the emperor didn't want me dead, I wasn't going to take crap from anyone. Besides, I'm pregnant now. Is the emperor really going to kill me? Thanks to the people who sent gifts. Love you all, and bow. Chapter 77 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. System support. What was the host even thinking? He said earnestly, Xiao Ran, what's going on in that head of yours? Is your only job to pop out a kid? Have you forgotten about the other task, the equally important one? Hearing the system's words, Yin Yuran crashed back to reality. It was like a beautiful rose, suddenly deprived of water, wilting before his eyes. Ugh. We still have to take down the tyrant. Xiao Ran, don't get discouraged. Confidence is key. I know. We've gotta finish the mission no matter what, so why overthink it? Just do it. She's not one to back down easily. Now that she's accepted this gig, she's gonna squeeze every last drop of value out of herself, even if it kills her. Anyway, she's already slept with the old emperor and is expecting. Might as well get something done, right? Time to pull herself out of this funk, and find out who the heck tried to off the original owner, shoving her into that well to drown. Seeing Yin Yuran bounce back so quickly, the system realized this host had serious grit. No quitter here. No way. She was admitting defeat. Her steps were lively, and she was humming a little tune. The flamboyant, wild girl was back. The system choked. Why did he even bother with the pep talk? Looking at her, she was clearly doing just fine. He knew once she let loose, there was no holding her back. Good thing the original owner was already a little crazy. No one would suspect a thing, right? At most, they'd chalk it up to her being forced into the palace and betrayed by her sister, causing a major personality shift, making her even bolder, more arrogant, more out there, and completely fearless. The original owner and her sister were twins. Not long after they were born, some Taoist priest said the sister was blessed and would bring honor to the family, but the younger sister would be short-lived, not making it past 17. From then on, all eyes were on her sister. They hired the best tutors to teach her everything: chess, calligraphy, painting, etiquette. Her sister was a regular Renaissance woman, but the original owner? She was basically raised in the wild, left to become whatever she became, knowing she wouldn't live to 17, even when she acted up and caused trouble. The family just cleaned up her messes. As a result, the original owner became more and more of a wild child, her temper more and more unruly. She was always sneaking out, and nobody said a thing or seemed to care. She was like an orphan. On the surface, she seemed like she didn't have a care in the world, but nobody knew how much she craved her parents' attention and love. Every time she acted out, it was her way of trying to get them to notice her, but she was dumb. The more she acted like that, the further she pushed them away. Everyone knew her days were numbered, and nobody wanted to waste time on a ghost. The reason she was sent to the palace as a replacement was because the emperor was a tyrant. She wasn't going to live to 17 anyway, so her parents ignored her protests and shipped her off. Even if her sister hadn't been scheming, she couldn't have avoided this fate. she was gonna die anyway, so why not use her for whatever she was worth? A little payback for the last 17 years they had to raise her, right? How messed up, how naive, how tragic, until her dying breath. The original owner didn't know that her being sent to the palace was all her parents' plan. Ever since they got that decree from the Queen Mother, her parents had already decided she would take her sister's place in the palace. Her sister would marry into some general's family instead. Her life was short-lived, and even if she married a general, she wouldn't bring any real benefit to the family, so, she was just a pawn to be played. For all she was worth, even when she disappeared in the palace, her parents didn't bat an eye. They knew this was coming. Inchio watched Yun Yuran, silently happy for her, looking at the gifts from the emperor. Yun Yuran, acting like a queen, picked out a gold bracelet for each of the 3 maids, while Xiao Detzi threw in a gold ingot each. Everyone cheered, beyond happy. Thank you, Empress Jiaoyi. They knelt together, showing their gratitude. Alright, get up. Yun Yuran said regally. Stick with me, work hard, and stay loyal. I'll take care of you. As long as I'm eating, you'll never go hungry. Also, the Ministry of Internal Affairs will be sending some palace maids and eunuchs soon. From now on, Mammy will be in charge of the maids, Xiao Detzi will run the eunuchs, and Inchio and Ningxuang will be my personal aides. Knowing Yun Yuran was trying to make them happy, Inchio and Ningxuang smiled. Mother, how could a slave dare control you? You're the boss. You know how I am. Sometimes I lose it and go crazy. When that happens, you need to gently remind me. Thinking about her beating someone up, they all trembled. Who would dare try to stop her then, unless they wanted to get their butts kicked too? But they nodded silently, figuring they could talk about it later. Yun Yuran continued, from now on, Grandma and Xiao Detzi will handle everything in Zuixin Pavilion. Inchio and Ningxuang, you'll take care of them personally. After giving her orders, the others stepped back. Yun Yuran looked at Xiao Detzi and said, I need you to do something for me. You've been in the palace a long time. Got any reliable friends? Your Majesty, do you want me to find out who tried to kill you last night? Yun Yuran silently gave him props. Dude was sharp. He'd already figured it out before she even said it. Exactly. Yesterday, I went out for a snack, and suddenly someone grabbed me from behind, covering my mouth and nose with a cloth. I fought back, but they knocked me out. When I woke up, I was in a well in the cold palace. Luckily, there was a rope in the well. I don't know who dropped it there, but I tied a rock to it and threw it out of the well, then I climbed out. I've been peaceful since I came to the palace and haven't messed with anyone. I want you to find out who hates me enough to want me dead. Your Majesty, I heard what Inchio said last night. First thing this morning, I took it upon myself to have someone investigate. Yun Yuran gave him another thumbs up, her eyes full of approval and appreciation. Good man, I'm impressed. Keep it up. When I hit the big time, you'll be the most powerful eunuch by my side. I'll make you as famous as Zhao Gao. A smart helper like this was rare and needed to be kept happy. She was being honest, not just buttering up Xiao Detzi. She was aiming for the queen's seat. Once she was queen, Xiao Detzi would be her right-hand man, as important as Zhao Gao himself. Thank you for your trust, Your Majesty. Rest assured, I will be loyal to you. Even if the Empress hadn't said anything, he would still be loyal. Working as an assistant next to the Empress meant not having to worry about being used as a scapegoat or getting yelled at and humiliated by the master all day. He felt good with his mother, without having to worry about his life being in danger. Don't worry, madam, as long as you want to fight, I will do my best to help you. Even if it costs my life, I will be willing to do so. One is forced to die, the other is willing to sacrifice one's life, both are different. Chapter 78 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Xiao Detzi's fervent loyalty, Yun Yuran smiled gently. Alright, no need to get so worked up. I don't need you to throw your life away for me. I just need you to do your job. If you die, where will I find another servant as thoughtful as you? Xiao Detzi felt a surge of warmth. His heart, which had been numb for so long, began to beat again because of Yun Yuran. She was his god now. He would fight for her at any cost. Also, remember this, even though I'm your mistress, I have no right to demand your sacrifice. Your life is your own, and no one can take it from you. Moving forward in the palace, always be careful to avoid being framed. As for me, don't worry about me. Even if I tear this place apart, His Majesty won't touch me. I have my own ways of protecting myself. I don't want you making any unnecessary sacrifices for me, understand? Yes, I will obey your orders and cooperate in whatever you ask. Good, you can go now. Yun Yuran waved her hand. Yes, your majesty, Xiao Detzi replied, his heart pounding. He walked out of the palace, touched his chest, and a faint smile played on his lips. Just because Yun Yuran told him to protect himself when necessary, he admired her and thought she was worth dying for. Not for money, not for status, but for her. He had entered the palace at 10 years old and had been there for 15 years. He had befriended many palace maids and eunuchs to survive. Now, he could ask them for information. Ever since the Empress had said she wanted him to stand on equal footing with Zhao Gaoping, he knew what she was planning. The only position equal to the Emperor's head eunuch was the Queen's head eunuch. The Empress's sudden change yesterday had caught him off guard, but he had adjusted. Someone as vibrant, beautiful, and godlike as she was deserved to be by the Emperor's side, not ostracized and neglected. That evening, Yuan Ma set down his memorial and looked at Zhao Gao. Zhao Gao, have someone go to Luoying Palace and tell Yun Zhaoyi to come and spend the night. Yes, your majesty. I will have Xiao Quanzi notify Luoying Palace. Also, go to the imperial kitchen yourself and ask the cooks to prepare some special dishes. Yun Zhaoyi is coming, and I want her to serve me. When the little goblin saw the exquisite meal, her eyes lit up like stars in the night. Zhao Gao was secretly surprised. Since when had His Majesty become so thoughtful? He even personally ordered the meals. He said Yun Zhaoyi would serve him, but Zhao Gao suspected His Majesty would be serving Yun Zhaoyi. Amazing, just amazing. He would treat Yun Zhaoyi with even more respect in the future. The Emperor's first woman was definitely something special. Just as Yun Yuran was about to eat, Xiao Detzi came in and announced, Your Majesty, Eunuch Zhao's apprentice, Xiao Quanzi, is here to inform you that His Majesty wishes for you to attend him tonight. Hearing this, Yun Yuran put down her chopsticks in surprise. This whole table is for the 4 of you. Eat up. Afterward, we'll go to Qianqing Palace. Your Majesty, aren't you going to eat? Ingqiu asked. Confused, Yun Yuran shook her head. I'll save room for Qianqing Palace. His Majesty's food is delicious. Just thinking about it made her drool. For a foodie, delicious food was the ultimate temptation. The system couldn't help but think that the host was like she was in the previous world, obsessed with food. That was the nature of a foodie. If one could resist delicious food, they wouldn't be called a foodie. After everyone finished eating, Yun Yuran said, Ningxuang will accompany me to Qianqing Palace tonight and Ingqiu will rest. I'm leaving Zuixin Palace in the care of Nanny and Xiao Detzi. Yes, your majesty, don't worry. Your servants will take good care of Zuixin Pavilion. I feel very relieved leaving it to you. When she arrived at Qianqing Palace, the emperor was already waiting. She walked over, knelt, and saluted, I, your concubine, greet your majesty. Yuan Ma helped her up and pulled her to the dining table. Have the meals arrived? Your majesty, Xiao Quanzi said you wanted me to attend you tonight. I was so excited that I didn't even bother to eat and rushed over. She had come on an empty stomach, excited about the food. Her excitement had nothing to do with the emperor. Seeing her sparkling eyes, Yuan Ma didn't call her out. Then let's eat. Yes, your majesty. She picked up her chopsticks, gave the emperor a piece of sweet and sour cherry meat, and began to eat unceremoniously. Ningxuang wanted to remind Yun Yuran to be more polite, but Zhao Gao gave her a look to stay silent. Ningxuang had no choice but to shut her mouth and stand respectfully. If His Majesty didn't mind, why should she? She might upset His Majesty and put her own head at risk. The Empress had already offended Li Shui because of her last night. She wouldn't let her offend His Majesty again. If she died because of that, she wouldn't regret it. The Emperor personally served Yun Yuran, just as he had at lunch. Yu Wenma glanced at her belly and the food on the table. It was already more than half empty, but Yun Yuran hadn't stopped eating. He wondered how she could fit so much food into her small body. Her stomach was still flat. Ningxuang looked desperate. Why was the Empress eating like a starving ghost? By the time she put down her chopsticks, only a third of the food remained. Are you full? Yu Wenma asked, uncertain. Yun Yuran nodded. Thank you, Your Majesty, I'm full. She took the handkerchief Ning Shuang offered and wiped her lips. If Yun Yuran hadn't stopped eating, the Emperor would have been shocked. He had never seen anyone eat like that. Zhao Gao, take the food away. Yu Wenma ordered. Zhao Gao quickly directed the servants to clear the table. Seeing that it was still early, and thinking of how much Yun Yuran had eaten, Yu Wenma asked, Are you going for a walk? Your Majesty, will you come with us? She asked, smiling expectantly. Yes, I'm full too. Okay, let's go. She took the Emperor's arm and left. Ning Shuang was terrified, her face pale and her lips trembling. Chapter 79 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 11. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wait, the Emperor isn't going to have his hand chopped off, is he? What was she supposed to do? Zhao Gao saw her worried look and whispered, It's all right, don't worry. She's a lucky one. Ningxuang calmed down a bit after hearing Zhao Gao's words. Her heart was still racing, like she'd been on a roller coaster. She was completely freaked out by Yun Yuran. Yun Yuran led the Emperor, with Zhao Gao and Ningxuang trailing close behind. As they walked, Yu Wenma asked, I heard you got into another fight after leaving Qianqing Palace. Yun Yuran glanced at the Emperor. His expression was unreadable, his eyes dark and emotionless. She winked playfully and said in a light tone, Your Majesty's heard about that, huh? Bet Zhao Gao told you. Yu Wenma didn't reply. Yun Yuran continued, It's not like I want to brawl. But the second I walked into Luoying Palace, those two came at me, yapping in the strangest way. They were either mocking me or asking how I seduced you, wanting me to give them pointers. But I didn't seduce Your Majesty at all, so how could I possibly teach them? Should I teach them how to throw punches like I do? I didn't want to argue with them, but they ganged up on me and wouldn't let it go. I had no choice but to teach them a lesson. Turns out, they're as weak as kittens. I knocked one out with a single slap and kicked the other one away. Honestly, I'm the one who's annoyed. Ever since I came to the palace, I've kept to myself and haven't caused any trouble. But they can't stand me. They look at me like I dug up their family's graves. Like they want to rip my face off. And I don't even know what I did to them. Yu Wenma watched the little woman, who was getting more and more worked up. He smiled slightly, looking directly at her. You're annoyed after you beat them up? Of course I'm annoyed, Your Majesty. I'm being targeted for no reason, ostracized for no reason. Even if I wanted to examine myself, I wouldn't know where to start. Aren't you afraid they'll resent you for being so bold? Afraid? But even if I swallow my anger, they'll still hate me. If they're going to hate me anyway, why not give them a real reason to hate me? At least it'll make me feel better. Ha! And you're not worried they'll come to me and complain? It would be a lie if I said I wasn't worried, but what am I supposed to do? Ha ha ha. You've got guts, alright. Yu Wenma finally laughed, his face softening. Your Majesty, don't laugh. She reached out to cover the Emperor's mouth but had to reach up because he was so tall. Before her hand could reach him, he grabbed it firmly. How dare you? Haven't you heard that I never allow women to touch me? Yes, but Your Majesty and I have already had skin-to-skin contact, and you don't seem to mind. What do you make of that? I can't tell if you're genuinely clueless, naive, or just pretending, Yu Wenma asked bluntly. Your Majesty, do you think I'm really clueless and innocent, or just faking it? She didn't back down, staring right back at him. I'd say you're neither. Your Majesty knows and still asks. Isn't that pointless? I'm not about to pretend. Then you're not afraid I'll have your head. Yun Yuan touched her neck and smiled. I'm not afraid you'll take my head. What I'm really afraid of is that you'll chop off my arms and legs and turn me into a human pig. That would be a fate worse than death. So, that's what she was thinking. And now? Yuan Ma asked, curious. Are you afraid now? Hey, if your Majesty wanted to kill me, you would have done it last night. Why keep me around to wait on you? Yuan Ma looked into her bright eyes and at her captivating, ethereal beauty. He gently lifted her chin, lowered his head, and kissed her. Yun Yuan wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling herself closer. Her arms got tired, so she jumped up, wrapping her legs around the emperor's waist. Yuan Ma held her up, steadying her. When Ningxuang saw what was happening, she quickly covered her eyes. Zhao Gao led her further away, stopping only when the emperor and Yun Yuan were out of sight. Empress Zhaoyi is so brave, Ningxuang said, patting her wildly beating heart. Zhao Gao secretly admired her for always testing the emperor's limits. Any other woman who got that close to his majesty before being called upon would have been severely punished, if not killed outright. The two kissed deeply, the sounds of kissing and swallowing echoing in the shadows. Yuan Ma didn't expect a simple kiss to be so intoxicating. Her taste was exquisite and sweet, like drinking liquid jade. He kept kissing her, exploring, twisting, twirling, and dancing with her. They kissed against the wall, her back pressed against the stone. Yuan Ma grew increasingly restless. He picked up Yun Yuan, used his Qinggong skills, and rushed to the Qianqing Palace's bedchamber. Once inside, he threw her onto the dragon bed, tearing off her clothes before joining her. Yun Yuan stopped him. Your Majesty, haven't you taken a bath yet? It's fine. I don't mind. Do you mind? Okay. You're the emperor, you get to decide. It doesn't matter to me anyway. Yuan Ma didn't hesitate. He picked up Yun Yuan and charged onto the battlefield. The battle was fierce. He led the charge, and she met every attack. Yuan Ma felt invigorated by the battle, sweat dripping down his face. Yet, he didn't feel tired. On the contrary, he felt more powerful with every move. Yun Yuan didn't back down. Every time he dared to launch an attack, she met him at the gates. Neither one gave up, and neither one would allow themselves to be defeated. They were both drenched in sweat, like they'd been pulled from a lake. It lasted until morning before Yuan Ma finally said, "If we keep fighting tonight, I swear I'll break you. I will not lose to you." "All right, I look forward to the battle." She smirked. Yuan Mo. This woman was infuriating. If it weren't for morning court, he would have made her beg for mercy. Yuan Mo gritted his teeth and said, "Just you wait." Chapter 80 The Treasure in the Palm of the Murderous Emperor 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the emperor left, Yun Yuan threw back the covers and sat up. Ugh, this is my life. Everyone's got me waiting around, firstly Shui, then Zhao Jieyu, and now the emperor. Honestly, is it a crime to be this good-looking? That the system rolled its metaphorical eyes. Xiao Ran, seriously? You're not even a little bit self-aware, are you? Tong, why are you up so early? Give it a rest, would ya? I wanted to catch the premiere of your humble brag. Priceless. The system was practically doubled over with laughter. Can't you ever be supportive? Fine, fine. Carry on. Yun Yuan tried to act nonchalant, but said, "Now I'm promoted to Zhaoyi, I have to do the whole greetings routine every single day. It's cutting into my beauty sleep. I have to go pay respects to the Queen Mother today. I just hope I don't get ambushed by the other ladies. What's the big deal? You're not scared of anything. Just smack them down if they get in your way. It's not the concubines I'm worried about. It's the Queen Mother. I wonder if she's chill or not. She wouldn't dare lay a finger on the Queen Mother if the Queen Mother decided to give her a hard time. Don't sweat it. Cross that bridge when you get to it. Worrying now is just borrowing trouble." True. Yun Yuran called out, Ningxuang. Ningxuang entered carrying a basin of water, placed it on the stand, wrung out a washcloth and offered it to her. Your Majesty. Yun Yuran took the cloth and gently wiped her face. Ningxuang, I need a hair accessory that says respectable. I'm off to see the Queen Mother today. Of course. I'll give you a hairstyle that's dignified and subdued. And I'll find you some demure clothes to match. Once Yun Yuran had finished getting ready, the pair returned to Luoying Palace. Back at Zuixin Pavilion, Yun Yuran changed clothes as fast as she could and rushed towards Xinaying Palace. This is gonna be a long day. When they arrived, the imperial concubine was already waiting with a gaggle of other women. A flicker of something dark passed through concubine Ro's eyes when she saw Yun Yuran enter the palace. Well, Yun Yuran bowed. Greetings, imperial concubine. Greetings, sisters. Oh. And who might this be? The imperial concubine asked with exaggerated curiosity. Madam, you covered her mouth with a handkerchief and giggled. My dear sister, you're so behind the times. This is Yun Jiaoyi, freshly appointed by His Majesty yesterday. Concubine Ro smirked. So this is her. I heard she had a face that could launch 1,000 ships. I see the rumors are true. Concubine Jin jumped in on the fun. Pictures don't do her justice. The system chimed in. Xiao Ran, you've poked a bear. Or, a whole nest of them. Nah, just a couple. Maybe more like a hornet's nest, actually. Before, no one had caught the Emperor's eye, so there was nothing to fight for. Suddenly, someone had been favored, and everyone was resentful. Go figure. Concubine Ro seemed determined to pick a fight with Yun Yuran. With a critical tone, she said. Wow. Look at you, already letting your new status go to your head. Everyone else managed to drag themselves to Xinaying Palace on time, but you just strolled in whenever you felt like it. Yun Yuran was losing patience. Oh, I'm sorry, sisters. His Majesty kept me occupied from last night until this morning. It was simply unavoidable that I be a little late. Please forgive me. She didn't bother looking at the others' reactions, but raised her eyes to meet the imperial concubines. The imperial concubine, who'd originally wanted to make things difficult for Yun Yuran, didn't dare to act up in front of the Queen Mother. So she said coolly, enough. Rise. Yun Jiaoyi is new here. She can get to know everyone and make some connections. Yun Yuran stood up and answered meekly, yes, imperial concubine. Jealousy almost drove the other women out of their minds when they heard this exchange. Their fingernails dug into their palms. Why? Why did she get the Emperor's favor? They'd been in the palace for years, some for over a decade, and had never even been near the Emperor. She'd only been here for 6 months, and bam, she'd caught his eye, and to top it off, she was the first woman he'd been with. They couldn't even touch his sleeve, but she'd had all of him. She'd made love with him, experienced the ultimate pleasure. The imperial concubine said, Sister Yun, perhaps you could tell us how you managed to get close to His Majesty. Now that we're all here, why don't you share your secrets with your sisters, so they can experience the feeling of being favored too? Yes. Sister Yun, sharing is caring. Let's all learn from you, Madam, you said with a saccharine smile. Yun Yuran smiled slightly. You all want to know, that she looked at the concubines, ranked high and low. Their eyes gleamed. They looked like they wanted to devour her. Yes, Sister Yun, tell us everything. Concubine Jin said, barely able to contain her anticipation. Her eyes were full of desire. What woman in the palace didn't crave the Emperor's attention? In the past, they'd all shared a mutual indifference toward the Emperor. They'd fought each other, sure, but they'd never hated anyone this much. Now, they wanted to drink Yun Yuran's blood and eat her flesh. They were consumed by hatred, but they couldn't do anything to her here in Xinaying Palace. All they could do was clutch their handkerchiefs and bite their lips. Yun Yuran brushed a strand of hair from her face and chuckled. Her voice was clear and sweet, like a dip in a cool spring. Actually, there's no real secret. It's just that I have this unbelievably gorgeous face that radiates irresistible charm. She just wanted to get under these backstabbers' skin, So they wanted to play snarky. Two can play at that game. Ingqiu was trying so hard not to laugh that she was visibly shaking. Girl, your mouth is gonna get you killed. Pfft. Ha ha ha. Finally, someone couldn't contain herself. Concubine Jin glared at the woman who'd laughed. What's so funny? Hearing Concubine Jin's words, Li Bin quickly covered her mouth and said, nothing. Carry on, carry on. She'd just been sitting there, watching the show, but when she heard Yun Zhaoyi's words, she'd suddenly burst out laughing. Humph. You think this is funny? Concubine Jin snarled, her face twisted with anger. If they hadn't been in Sinang Palace, she'd have been ready to rip her to shreds. The imperial concubine watched the others taunt and mock Yun Yuran. She didn't say a word, didn't try to stop them. She simply observed. She hated Yun Yuran too, but she was the highest-ranking concubine in the palace. She couldn't act like the lower-ranking women and lash out at whoever she pleased. She had to be tolerant and generous, so that both the emperor and the queen mother could see how virtuous she was. Even if she didn't get the emperor's love, she still wanted to be queen, and between the emperor and the queen's position, the queen was more important. She'd worked so hard for so many years to climb to the rank of imperial concubine. She wasn't like those short-sighted fools who lost their heads over nothing.